Hey everyone, it's Kong again with another episode of Should You Summon. As always, I'm going to be presenting high-level overviews to help you decide whether this banner is worth your hard-earned vouchers and crystals. So this week we're going to be talking about the Destiny banner featuring Lambda, Angelina, and the other Lambda, Mariandel. The banner runs from June 2nd to the 15th, and it's appropriate that we're getting all these Lambdas right around the time that we heard the news from China that we'll finally be getting McLean as a playable character. So keep your eyes peeled for McLean in 6 months. He's going to be on a banner with Ricky, two, I guess, much-loved characters from Langrisser 4. I guess people are just excited to see some actual Langrisser characters coming back to the game. Anyway, let's get started on this banner with Lambda. Lambda is a magical AoE specialist. Her talent gives her a boost to AoE damage, AoE area and span, and the range for her line-based spells. She has a unique accessory that gives up to a 50% chance to reduce her skill cooldown by 5 depending on how many enemies she hits. She's a member of Yeless Legends, buffed by Landius and Sigma, Mythical Realm, buffed by Gizaroth and the Sage of the Trees, and Protagonists, buffed by Matthew and Emperor Lavina. For bonds, she unlocks the defensive bond for Virash and the attack bonds for Gizaroth, Omega, and Mew. She needs Rachel for her own defensive bond and Sigma for her attack bond. For content, she's on faction for Phoenix in the Eternal Temple and Hugin and Munin, Fenrir, and Nidhogg in Ancient Beckoning. Next up we have Angelina. Angelina is a well-rounded flying DPS, usually flying, who relies on a lot of act again and move again gimmickry to make her a dynamic threat. Her 3-cost skill, for example, is a disruptive AoE that pushes enemies back, has a chance to freeze them, and lets her act again if she connects with 3 or more targets. Her coolest skill, in my opinion, is actually Alternate, which chain hooks an ally to you, swaps places with them, and then lets you act again, so you can use it to either approach or retreat. She's a member of Yeless Legends, buffed by Landius and Sigma, Meteor Strike, buffed by Zerida and Epsilon, and Princess Alliance, buffed by Shelfaniel, Luna, and Christiane. For bonds, she unlocks the defensive bond for Rachel and the attack bonds for Shelfaniel and Melania, and she needs Matthew for her defensive bond and Shelfaniel for her own attack bond. For content in PvE, she's on faction for Phoenix, Leviar, and Scylla in the Eternal Temple, and Jormungandr and Nidhogg in Ancient Beckoning. On the PvP side, her 3-cost skill can definitely make her a dangerous nuisance in Apex Arena. Hilda shuts down her displacement, but I've still seen way too many teams frozen into the fog to underestimate her. Plus there are a fair number of teams out there now that are banning Hilda early, so she could fit into one of those teams. Finally, we have the newest character on the banner, and that's Mariandel. Mariandel is a magical utility character, kind of like an updated Rachel, with a variety of magical attacks and built-in healing. Her talent is pretty fun. You charge up her int and skill damage up to 4 stacks when your other characters use skills. Then when she uses a skill, she releases her stored up energy and heals everyone in the area. Her 3-cost skill is an AoE that hits enemies with a debuff that requires them to use a skill or else they take fixed damage. It also passively gives her +1 unit range, +1 AoE span, and +1 line AoE distance for every 2 talent stacks. She has a 1-cost single-target heal that also grants immunity effects, removes debuffs and adds buffs, a single target that makes it so the enemy can't move or guard, and an AoE that hurts enemies and strips buffs if they're in water, while simultaneously healing allies and removing debuffs. She's a member of Yeless Legends, buffed by Landius and Sigma, Mythical Realm, buffed by Gizaroth and the Sage of the Trees, and Princess Alliance, buffed by Luna, Shelfaniel, and Christiane. For bonds, she unlocks the defensive bonds for Werner and Lisa, and the attack bonds for upcoming new characters Oboro, from the next major update, and the Wandering Duelist, who's a couple months out. As I mentioned earlier, it's also possible she'll be a bond unlocker for McLean. She needs Werner for her own defensive bond, and the Sage of the Trees for her attack bond. She's something of a Sage of the Trees herself. For content in PvE, she's on faction for Leviar, where she might be dangerous because of her burst healing, and for Phoenix. She's also technically on faction for Needhog and Fenrir in Ancient Beckoning. In PvP, she's a good all-round mage and healer combo. She's not going to be totally off-the-rails OP like some of the PvP-specific characters, but she'll be good if you put her in the right box and know what you want to use her for. She can be made surprisingly difficult to kill, and I do like characters that do more than one thing as long as they can do it well. Alright, let's move on to the notes for Noobs. Lambda is pretty good in her own right, but there are definitely other characters who do the things she does a bit better for each task. The main reason you'd want to summon her at this point is for bonds, especially if you ever want to use Omega for anything. Angelina is a good flexible pick. She's not an absolutely essential, overpowered unit for anything in particular, but you can build her and put her to good use. So yeah, you don't need her, but if you like her and you want to invest in her, who am I to stop you? Mariandel is a decently solid all-purpose healing mage. She can be good in general-purpose PvE and in PvP, and she's starting to become something of a bond unlocker too. If there's anyone on this banner who's really worth summoning, it's her. Okay, finally just my usual reminder about upcoming banners. This monthly update has kinda gone off the rails with the temporary disappearance of the Kruger and Werner banner, and the sudden appearance of the Valentine banners 3 weeks early. We should get Dehart, King of the Red Moon, and Young Jessica, and Elwyn, Bernhardt, and Leon for the final week of the cycle, but who knows when that Kruger and Werner banner will resurface. My fear is that it'll be when we were supposed to get the Yu Yu Hakusho crossover rerun. So we'll just have to wait and see. Alright, that's it for this episode, so let us know on the Discord or in the comments below if you're planning on summoning on this one. This is actually the first time Mariandel has been on a banner since her launch, and she's the one who got the Destiny banner. Werner was supposed to get the Raid Up banner, but we don't know where that is. I'm going to be tempted to drop 10 or 20 summons just to see if I can get some cheap shards for one of these ladies. I don't have any of them at 6 star, so maybe whichever one I get, that'll prompt me to start building them. Oh, I didn't get the chance to mention it last week because my video plans were sunk to the bottom of the sea, but we've still got one more week of the Magic Tower Conquest event left. I know Loomis has been hard at work helping multiple friendos get to 1500 points for the rewards, so if you're interested in contracting his services, swing by this old Neon's Discord server, link in the description below, and drop him a line. Thank you so much for watching, I wish you all the best of luck, and I'll catch you in the next Should You Summon. Extra special thanks, of course, to our Langrisser tier channel members for generously supporting the channel directly and helping me out. Shout out to Levitt, Derek Gunderson, Kate Soon, Jared Portela, Eden Seal, Jerome Meyer, Shara Ilimirius, and Harambe. Thanks to your generous support for basically keeping my Adobe subscription active so I have access to Photoshop and Premiere to keep making these videos. Okay, bye!